Earlier this year, the three dads embarked on their third walk, covering new ground and trekking 500 miles from Scotland all the way down to Norwich, capturing the nation's hearts once again and raising vital awareness for the need for suicide prevention and Papyrus. Suicide is still the biggest killer of under 35s in the UK, yet the stigma surrounding suicide still leaves many young people feeling like they can't open up about how they feel or understand how they could even start a conversation with someone that they are worried about. Working tirelessly to break this stigma, every step of their walks, the dads encouraged an open conversation about suicide with anyone they met, allowing people to open up about their experiences, with some even sharing their story for the first time ever. As part of their walk, the dads walked through the University of Leeds campus, joined by students and staff throughout the city. Their highly appreciated presence at the university got students talking and made them realise just how important it is to have those difficult conversations with one another. In 2023, over 160,000 people signed the Three Dads petition to make suicide prevention education compulsory on the curriculum, which they then took to Parliament and carried the names of the suicide bereaved families and their loved ones who took their own lives with them every step of the way.
Talking about suicides is a very difficult thing to do, especially when we've not had that in our heads that is something we can do. So actually flipping and making it, it's not even making it a habit, but making it something that's normalised is extremely difficult to do just on your own in your own brain.
And it's such a difficult time to be a young person. There's so much stress, and you're told by people who are older than you that you'll never have a house, and that, you know, the world is burning, that like climate change is taking over, and there's so many stresses involved with being a young person, and it will even social media as well, and it'll continue to be the case. It'll continue to be a more volatile world to be a young person in.
You talk about sexual health and kind of cyber safety, but there's not really much on mental well-being, and if there is, it's very kind of workbook clinical and doesn't actually address the issues that need addressing.
What it might be as well is maybe people don't want to ever think that they could get that bad, so they don't want to speak about it because maybe they think it could never be them. And then they hit a really low point and then suddenly it is. And I think when you're in kind of like a really deep depression or a really dark place, you don't really have like rational kind of thoughts. And I think that by the time you reach that point, you might not even want to look for help or know where to look or be able to process really anything. And so I think it's kind of making yourselves known before someone gets to that stage. If it wasn't such a bad word, almost, if it wasn't such a like people were scared to say it, I think some people in my life may have survived.
By engaging in Papyrus training, young people are being equipped with the life-saving skills to support themselves and their peers if they are experiencing suicidal thoughts.
I think young people want to talk about suicide a lot more than they used to, and I definitely think that is with the rise of social media and actually getting to see the information that they need to hear.
There is some also very sensitive and preventative education that you can deliver to young people, which helps them to understand that there is a simple way of telling someone that they need help, or there's a simple way for them to spot someone else when they need help.
When it comes to things like suicide prevention, there are loads of different routes you can take to kind of addressing it. You can address it as kind of like aftercare, giving students support if they are starting to feel any symptoms or any signs of that kind of stuff. But you could also go down the preventative wellbeing route, which just means that students are supported from the beginning. And I almost feel like that might be more helpful. And I think Papyrus actually does a good job of giving people training and getting more understanding. So if they are then in a situation, they have the tools to be able to use that. So I definitely say just getting people ready to talk about it and know how to address those situations, so everyone can support each other from a young age as well.
You need to be an active bystander when someone is struggling mentally. And I think that we are slowly beginning to educate young people on how to look out for each other and how to look out for themselves and how to take care of themselves and put up boundaries when they're struggling, or to ask for help, whether that's like academically or mentally or whatever it might be.
I guess getting rid of that taboo at a young age, like even with work I do now, sometimes it can be hard to say, like, are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? And if that was sort of ingrained in my brain as being a normal question to ask when you're worried about someone from a young age, it would have helped in a lot of different situations where you're not really sure what to do, especially if you're close to your friends and you're probably the first person to see like a change in someone, for example.
I think that if people are talking about it, people can understand that there are ways out of it and it's not their only option. So I think that if we keep going with education around suicide prevention, then in the future people will feel that it's okay to talk about their emotions and that it's okay to talk about the way that they're feeling. And also it's normal to not feel okay 100% all of the time. It's just then how you navigate yourself out of that, which I think really matters.
Just starting that conversation and making young people feel safe enough to open up about how they are feeling could save so many more lives. Help Papyrus change the narrative around suicide. For more information, visit www.papyrus-uk.org.